All right, how's everyone doing? Share screen. To share audio as well. Higher screen. There we go. I think this is what we want. All right. You guys able to hear the music and everything okay? Or are you guys fine? I think we're good. Hope everyone's doing well. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong chat. I'm like, no wonder. Bob Sales, what's up? The second mouse gets the cheese. I don't think I've heard that one before, but that is interesting. We'll just zoom in here real quick. What's up, everyone? Adrian Comics, how you doing? Greetings from parents. I said parents. From Paris. How you doing? Lurk mode activated. Nice to see you, Jeff. Thanks for stopping by. Said hi. Shankster, how you doing? Professor Vibes, yes, sir. Professor Xavier. I don't know what his hand. Actually, he typically just does this. He has like one. Does more than one side. I think if he's really trying, if he's try-harding, he'll do hands on both sides. By the way, is there music playing on your guys' side? Or are you guys good? You guys should hear music. If not, let me know. But it should be pretty low-key. If not, then let me know. Adrian Comics, see what's up. KGM Jam, what's up, dude? I like streaming earlier in the day when I can kind of get more new faces, more new. You don't hear music? Okay. I like streaming earlier in the day on the weekends because I can just see more faces, right? More people. At least that's the hope. I do like seeing new names in the chat because whenever I stream late night, or not even late night, but just after work during the week, I tend to see the same people, which is fine. I love seeing the usual suspects, like Pixel Trader, Astronaut, Hinano, all the usual suspects. Bob Sales occasionally when he can. What is up? Confusing me there. Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. Yeah, we're using StreamYard right now because we are going to have a guest eventually. Jump on here, just kind of hang out for a bit, but want to keep it pretty just, I don't know, lighthearted today. You guys can ask whatever you want. I had nothing really planned, as you guys know, typically with these streams. We just talk about whatever. Mostly we do focus on the market, right? What's up, what's down, what's going on. There has been some movement apparently with like comics. I have seen some comics make some moves recently. Just super thin floors. Lots of purchasing going on. Not sure if there's delistings involved. I will say this, one thing to kind of keep note, just as a heads up, we are coming up pretty close to the delisting period for X-Men #1. I think X-Men #1 dropped on the 15th of this year. Not this year, what am I saying? Last month, October 15th, I believe is when X-Men dropped. So it should be pretty soon here. Within the next few days, the delisting is going to happen for X-Men. So those floors will start looking pretty thin over the next few days. So live speculation on the market for sealed Iron Man Funko 1 month before expiration deadline if Secret Rare #1 is not redeemed. It's hard to say. I'm not entirely sure what that would do, Jason. I would assume the prices would go up a bit, but I feel like the only people that would speculate on that are people that are in the VV circle, right? Like a random person that likes Funko or whatever doesn't know about the, $40,000 bounty on the SR. Like they don't know that, right? So it might affect the price. It might not. I don't think anyone really knows the hard deadline. I know VV said, "Oh, it's 1 year," but to be honest, like I would not trust VV. They've messed up kind of things like this kind of before. So it could be the code could be valid for 6 months, 9 months, 3 months, a year, 2 year, 10 year. Like who knows? Like I don't know. I just wouldn't. Nothing against them, but this is their first time like ever doing something like this, and there were codes. Might be redeemable, or who knows? Like right? Maybe it stops at the end of the calendar year. Maybe the code stops getting redeemed. Nobody knows. But just me personally, if I own one and I try to sell it, I would sell it sooner rather than later. I think if you're holding it and you're trying to find the perfect price, or you're trying to wait for the month before supposedly the code expires, I think at that point you just kind of assume that the code is just not going to work. That's what I would do personally. So again, you can do whatever you want if you fully believe it's going to be a year out, but I just feel like VV doesn't 100% know if that's true or not. But I mean, I'll take their word for it, but I'm not going to put my money on it though. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I think the price would go up, but only for people in VV that A, remember, and then B, people that are in the VV circles. So you're talking about a small group of people. Door dashing for VV. Nice. Yeah, I used to DoorDash a lot. I used to do Uber and DoorDash and all that stuff a lot back in the day. I kind of miss doing DoorDash. It's way more chill. When I would do Uber, it was very... I mean, you have to deal with people, right? You have to keep your car like impeccably clean. You have to deal with people bringing in like smelly food or being very loud, if they themselves just smell, or if they always bring, 5 people in a 4-seater. They're like, oh yeah, can our friend just jump in here? Like, no, like it's illegal to do that. If I get caught, I get in trouble, right? All kinds of stuff with just Uber. It pays better than DoorDash or like food delivery, but you just have to deal with way more stuff. Or people just being rude or just constantly giving directions, like who knows. But I do miss door dashing. Occasionally it's a nice thing to do to make a bit of money while you're just listening to streams or, podcasts, whatever. I'm always here. One of the better streamers, if not live, I rewatch everything. Nice. I try to keep up, but sometimes there's just too much stuff going on. Even when I watch videos or like listen to streams at ×2 speed, it's just hard to keep up with everything, which I guess is a good problem. That means there's a lot of content being made, right? Always good to see you, man. Yeah, thanks, Bob Sales. I appreciate that. How'd you do on Spider-Man number 7, Spider-Boy? Let's take a look. This is my little collection here. I landed an SR on the drop. I did have to buy 13 comics in the store to do it. I legitimately got... I think I got more than this. No, this was actually... Yeah, this was the final amount. I got 10 commons, 2 uncommons, and then 1 secret rare. They were getting deleted. Yeah, or not deleted. What am I saying? As I was getting them delivered... It was the 12th one that finally became an SR. I remember I was just clicking buy. And then it wasn't until the 12th one that I was just clicking buy, and I saw like, all right, 3 commons, 5 commons and 1 uncommon, 8 commons, 1 uncommon. I'm like, dude, what is going on? Like, I'm not even landing a rare or anything. Then I finally saw the secret rare go through. I was like, oh, dude, thank God. To be honest, I should have sold this a while ago. I was really just torn between like, should I sell it? But there's a lot of just like Spidey heads out there that are just obsessive about this kind of stuff. I was really contemplating selling it when it was at like 190, 200. But I don't know why. I just have a weird thing about not selling SRs when I win them on the drop. So, I mean, you can see it right here. It says I paid $7.99 for it. So, I don't know. That's kind of my take. Yo, what up? Going for Ronin? I'm actually skipping Ronin, your local scalper. I might try and grab Hawkeye because, I mean, he is an Avenger, like at the end of the day. But long story short, you have to pay what? 50 gems for the Hawkeye, 50 gems for the Kate Bishop, and then 50 gems for the Ronin. You might be able to buy these less than the secondary after people like do the Ronin, swap or like cash in or whatever, or the crafting mechanic. But I mean, the default price is Ronin's going to cost 150 gems to get if you want a Ronin, right? I mean, you get 2 other collectibles with it, but I don't know. Personally, if I can get a Ronin, like, cool. I just have a feeling like if you really want a Ronin, you might be able to get in the secondary for a bit cheaper. Like, who knows? This is the first time they've done this kind of crafting mechanic, so I'm not entirely certain how it's going to play out. But we'll probably talk about that more later and kind of get your opinions on it. But Inano, yeah, I got 13, bought 6 in the store, all commons. Yeah, dude, you just had to keep buying. But that's what you had to do. You just had to. You were one away. I mean, I know it sounds like addicted gambling behavior, but you just got to keep clicking buy, right? I just have a feeling that people are gonna grab the Hawkeye, grab the Kate Bishop, grab the Ronin, resell the Ronin for like 130, like 110, or they're gonna try, and then sell like Hawkeye and Kate Bishop for like 40, 30 each, maybe 40. Because I don't think a ton of these are gonna get bought. And then people are gonna try and resell Ronin for like, 110 or something like that. Because I think there's a lot of people that want Ronin, but maybe not so much Hawkeye or Kate Bishop. Or for me, I would love Hawkeye and Ronin. Don't care too much about Kate Bishop myself, but I don't know how this is going to play out. I like that Veve and Marvel are trying different crafting mechanics and stuff, but I'm not sure if this is it. And I'm glad they did on this one, because like Hawkeye and Kate Bishop and all that stuff, they're not super high tier. Like, we're not doing this with like Wolverine or something like that, where it's like, all right, you got to craft a bunch of, I would still do it, but you have to craft all these different versions of them and stuff like that. So kind of glad they're experimenting with stuff like this with the crafting mechanics. Even if it's not successful, just for the fact that they're experimenting with the technology, that like, all right, let's try this, this, and this, and this, who knows, this could set up a thing where like, hey, by the way, if you own the old golden moments with C-3PO and R2-D2, if you have those, you can craft this third collectible like a Ronin or whatever. It doesn't have to be, not everything else to be encompassing on the drop. So I'm kind of glad Veve is at least trying stuff. I just don't think financially this drop is super successful, but just testing the technology, I do like that concept that they're doing. By the way, I'm wearing my little X-Men shirt today. I am wearing the X-Men today. Nice. Eat for that craft, yeah. I'll grab a secondary after hype for $30. Yeah. Are you talking about Hawkeye? I assume you're talking about Hawkeye. I don't mind him. He's definitely not my favorite. He's probably my least favorite Avenger, but I still like him. I still want to collect them just to have the Avengers set, right? How many mints are there of this guy? Honestly, I've not looked too closely at the... okay, only 1,500, or technically 1,410 in circulation. So we'll see. Let me know if the music gets too loud. It's always weird with StreamYard, because I can actually throttle the music volume very easily with my old my other streaming software. This one I have to like manually turn down the music, which is a bit more annoying. But I thought it was 1 away at 5. Yep. But then you need to think, wait, I'm 1 away from 6, and then 7, then 8, then 9, right? Bought 8 Spider Boys, 6 commons, and 2. Dude, I don't know what it was that dropped, but like a lot of people got a lot of commons. I know it's like statistically that's how it like should work out more or less, but from the people that bought more than 10, it was a lot, like more than 5. Got a lot of commons. I know the ultra rare ran up a bit. Yeah, did that. I actually bought the ultra rare of this on the market for 55 during the drop. I meant to grab another one. I couldn't initially because I was busy at work, but I managed to get one for 55. Then I sold it for 95 just because I just feel like around the 100 gem mark, it's getting a little too, it's a very historical piece and cover and art and all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but I just think 100 in this market right now is a bit much. It's competing with like too many other like Grail comic ultra rares for that price point. Like if we look here, and again, this is all my opinion. Like I'm not a hardcore comic book collector or anything like that. Like I'm just some guy with a camera that collects on Veve. So just a heads up there. AKA not financial advice, but this is just kind of where I'm getting my not market listings, floor price. like ASM 700. Wait, is that right? Yeah, dude, we got some Tarzan ultra rares going for under 6 gems right now. That's kind of crazy. And this Marvel Legacy. That's actually kind of a cool cover. For 6 gems? It's actually not a bad looking cover. I more like it for the Odin and the I don't know who that is in the back. Is it Phoenix of some kind? I don't know. I guess she's kind of like a primal, omnipotent being in a way, so maybe that is her. I don't know. I haven't read the book. But if you look at other ultra rares in that same like price range, we're talking like, you know, Thor, Hulk, Miles, Doctor Doom, the OG VV variant cover, not variant cover, but yeah, VV exclusive cover, X-Men. This just seemed a little bit high. Like when it was chilling at like low 100, high 90s, it just seemed like a little too much for that. So I sold it at 95. That was kind of my price point. I'm going to try and get all 3 for under $100. You might be able to. That might be a little too cheap, but it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, if you said around 100, like I could see these maybe going for, I think Ronan's going to be the gatekeeper. So like you'll definitely get Kate Bishop and Hawkeye for like easily under, I don't know, 35, 40 each or something like that. We'll see. Probably Hawkeye's a bit higher, obviously. Maybe Kate Bishop be like under 35. Ronan, that's hard to tell. I know it's hard to say. Because that one you actually had to have the other 2 collectibles beforehand. It'd be cool to get 2 collectible versions of Wolverine and then you craft X-23. Oh, you get the girl. Who's like X-23's mother? Was it like Lady Deathstrike or is it just like a test tube? That sounds messed up, but like just get Wolverine in a test tube, you combine them together, boom, X-23. And that's it. I knew she was a daughter of Wolverine, but Hit Arcade, what's up? Arcade, let's go. Dude, we got some fire emotes. If you like the content, hit the button. It's free. Yeah, hit the like button if you guys don't mind. If you guys like the content. Also, if all of you members in here, we got some cool emotes. Mostly X-Men stuff. We got my name. Beat the market is going up or down. Those are all emotes you can leverage. Yeah, but looking at the ultra rares, this one looks like it's pulled back a bit. There's a very small handful of ultra rares that I actually do really want to get, just strictly for aesthetic purposes, not even for collecting. This is where I'm kind of torn between like, all right, collect for, you know, things I like or just things I know that are going to be profitable. But there's like a handful of things that I'm just like, I just want it because I want it, regardless if it's profitable or like super profitable or not. This one, the Death of Gwen Stacy, I do like. I really like this Baldari cover. It just looks great. Like it a ton. And then there's a few other ones. If you guys watch my streams, you guys know some of the other ones I've kind of talked about before. But there's a few other collectibles. I'm just like, you know, I just want to grab it just because I like it, not even because I think it's going to do super well, like in the future. What's the new Jurassic Park drop at? What's the new series Jurassic Park drop at? Yeah, that's true. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I mean, that was like 2 weeks ago, right? So I have a feeling they said it was like, what, 7 drops? 7 Jurassic Park drops? Or no, I'm thinking about the 007. You know, the 007 drop is going to have 7 series of drops. And if you have like 1 collectible from each series, you'll get an airdrop. But if you have all the collectibles from all 7 series, you'll get like a super airdrop. I'm not chasing that at all. If there is something I like in each series and it's cheap, I'll grab it. But I'm definitely not chasing in the aftermarket to like grab stuff or like don't have that kind of money. What's the new series Jurassic Park drop at in the market? Oh, okay. I thought you were just talking about in general. If I just type in Park, I think Park is good enough. Mostly because I just don't want to embarrass myself trying to spell Jurassic. You know, it's pretty easy. Put collectibles. There we go. Oh, it's doing all the park stuff. Jurassic. Come on, let's go. Sarah Kinney is X-23 mom. She was part of the Weapon X project. Okay. Yeah, then let's get her on the app and then combine her and Logan. Barton Homer's still holding up. I was surprised by that. I thought that was going to be just like a very temporary thing, but it seems like The Simpsons and like it's still just very active on X. People just like keep occasionally talking about it. So, I mean, it's cool. I like The Simpsons, but at this point, I don't chase pumps. It's already done like a 3x almost at this point. So it's like, all right, I'm just going to leave it be. Maybe I'll double back around when it goes to like, 70 or whatever again. Let's go by release date. So let's see what the Jurassic Park is doing. Gates are at 28. I know it's kind of hard to see. What if I'm trying to make it so you guys can see? I don't know. I feel bad because some of you guys are like on your phones. This is almost like too zoomed in. Kind of wish the interface was a bit easier to read, but long story short, Jurassic Park gates are at 28, so still below retail. T-Rex like sign is at 20. Raptor egg has actually gone up a bit. I remember when this was like below 30, now it's at 31. Amber says it hit an all-time high of 75, but that doesn't seem right. Could have sworn it's a bit higher initially, off drop. I was eyeballing this. I was trying to buy this below 60. I still want the Amber. Amber is probably one of the few things I'm just like, I just want it because I think it's cool. And I really like Jurassic Park. But Sub Vibes, how much is AF15 now? I'm thinking about buying another copy. But then again, I could buy so much stuff with that money. Yeah, let's take a look at AF15. If I just type in fantasy, it's good enough. And we'll do comics. All right, AF15, or I mean, we could also just look at it on the actual market. AF15. Can't get more live than this, right? It's at 270 right now. It really depends on your time horizon, right? On like how desperately you want to buy this, right? I don't think 270 is like a bad price. I'm just really curious how the next month and a half is going to play out. If we do, more announcements before the year starts, is there going to be any new things happening on Veve for the new calendar year? Are we going to get a new website, new IPs, new OUP stuff, new MC? Like all this stuff is going to play a role in this. Like if they announce comic utility, 270 is probably a good price. Then it like runs at the 350 again. Like nobody knows, right? If you just want to secure one, you could probably just keep an eye on it and see if it goes down to like 250 again. Because I mean, it has touched 250 quite a few times the last like couple months. Even when I bought my comic and I made a big deal about it and I put it up on X like 4 months ago, and I was like, hey, I finally got a AF15. That was like 300 gems, but it's touched 250 a few times. So if you still really want to buy one and you want to feel like you get a good price, maybe wait till it's like 250 because it has gone there before a few times. Just wait for like another big drop. Wait for like another big drop to happen. This will go down to like 250 or another big drop to get announced and then go for this. I'm the same, yeah. Hey, live chat, and yes, I've seen me before. What's up? That's How are y'all doing? Speaking of Homer and Bart, let's go ahead and take a look at them, see what they're doing. Yeah, 118. I'm really surprised that this is holding water. Especially the fact that there's a lot of mints of this. But I know Simpsons and a couple other like big tweets are still posting about this, so the popularity is still there. For me personally, like I'm not buying it until I mean everyone's financial situation is different, right? Like, I mean, if you could afford to put thousands of gems in the app every month, do what you want. But If you're a little bit more constrained, like I am personally, like I'm not chasing this. And quite honestly, there'd probably be 2 or 3 other golden moments I'd rather buy in this price range. Just me personally. Everyone's a bit different. I know Simpsons are big, but for me, if we do floor price, like there's just other collectibles I'd rather buy. Actually, let's go top down. Like me personally, I'd rather have Elsa. You know, just spend the extra like 10 gems, grab an Elsa. I'd rather have Iron Man personally. And that's that might be it. Those are probably the only other like 2 alternatives. I'm talking about the same price range. It's not like, oh, just buy Walt. You know, I mean, Walt is 20 times the price of Bart and Homer right now. I think like grabbing like a lamp, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, and like Chippendale or something like that. I don't know. Like there's a few other things you could buy for like the same price. So I agree. I don't know how the next month is going to be like. So many iconic grails like Hulk and X-Men 1 is at 20 to 30 gems. Yeah, that is true. It's pretty surprising that those comics, in my opinion, are that low. But again, it was just liquidity is just king right now, and people are just really constrained on. People are saving up money to spend for trips. People are saving up money for holiday gifts and holidays. People are saving up money to buy crypto because all that stuff's happening. People are doing all kinds of stuff with their money. So it's not always that like X-Men 1 is worth where it's at right now. It's like, should it be worth more? Probably. But we're also talking about a pretty small community and like market cap and all that stuff in the grand scheme of things. So it seems like peak negativity for Omi right now. Moment of silence for any big holders. Yeah, I do know Doctor of Stuff. I actually just saw he actually has a stream probably turning on in about an hour, maybe a little bit over an hour. So I'll be tuning into that while I can. I mean, this stream's going to go for at least another hour. And I do want to listen to that because he talks about Omi concerns and all that stuff. I think it's just a lot of people, all the issues and kind of all the hesitation with the regulations around crypto and all that stuff. And like Veve dealing with the big licensors, they just don't want to do anything too hastily. And they try to add some sort of utility or this or that. And then it becomes a security. Now Veve gets in trouble. Disney and Marvel and all the big IPs have to distance themselves from Veve now. Now they have to either have to stop doing drops or they stop advertising or whatever it is. Who knows? So I think it's just like we imagined one thing, or Veve told us one thing, and then or Ecomi told us one thing, and now it's ending up being something kind of different. And I think a lot of people with Omi are expecting results, not only by now, obviously, but like in the near future, like in the next like few months. And we've just haven't heard much. Curious to see how that huge interview thing, I forgot the name of the convention that David's going to, and he's going to talk about Omi and a few other things as well. But curious to see how that plays out. Like, I think hopefully a lot of questions will get answered in the next like 2 to 3 months about the direction of Omi and Veve and the website and what's happening and exchanges and this and that. Like, there's so many things going on. So did you see the OpenSea tweet about animated NFTs? Veve is far ahead of all the ones you'd see in the comments. No, I did not hear about that. Honestly, I don't pay too much attention to like OpenSea or just like the general crypto world out there in general. I just don't know generally, I just don't know how people have time to like find all these bits of information like everywhere all the time, reading articles, watching videos. Like I kind of just focus on Veve and Omi and a little bit of like the crypto market in general, but don't know too much about the whole OpenSea animated NFT thing yet. But that's cool that they're doing it. Kind of opens the door to everyone at OpenSea. They're like, oh, let's buy this animated NFT. They're like, all right, this is kind of cool, but I heard about this Veve. And everything's AR with bigger licenses and way more cool stuff. So could be a nice gateway into Veve for a lot of new people. What's up, Execu Speak? Thanks for the emote spam. I speculate another bleed around Black Friday. That could be it too, right? Rumor has it class action lawsuit incoming. Yeah, no one really knows. I mean, I heard something similar too, or that they've been in a lawsuit for a while with some guy. Like no one really knows. So no one really knows for certain. Oh wow, I forgot the figures. I had this tweet ready to post about when I was live, and I completely forgot to actually put it out. So whatever. Not a huge deal, but yeah, no one really knows. And so I don't spend as, I mean, I've definitely been focusing on Omi more the last like 3 to 4 months than I ever did before. I'm just not, I don't know what it is, but people are getting so tripped up about like Omi and VeVeVerse and all that stuff. Like I'm just kind of staying the course and just buying stuff I'm not buying any Omi right now because it's based on what it sounds like, it could go a bit lower. And then on Veve, I'm not throwing a ton of money at it because there could be a chance again, it could keep dipping, right? We have holidays and a bunch of other stuff happening, so who knows? But for me, it's like, I don't know, like I didn't invest. A lot of things I bought, I wasn't doing it with the intention of like VeVeVerse, in my opinion, personally. So. Love the Iron Man. Did you get the others off to your buddies overseas? Yeah, I mean, I bought one for my collectibles, so he got his. I sent it to him, and so he did I think he did a YouTube short of him opening it, so he got a comment. He actually got a really cool mint number. It was just mint number 1234, and he actually sold it to a guy who was a 1234 mint collector. So he actually ended up selling him, helping him out. Complete his set for the common. And then I don't know what else he did with that. So yeah, I definitely helped him out with that. I'm supposed to have 2 more boxes of Iron Mans coming in, but for the longest time, the tracking number just said label printed, but it wasn't shipping. There was no destination, no ETA, no nothing. So I was still waiting on that. Contacted customer support. They said, wait a bit longer. Contacted them again, like 4 days later. They said, sorry, yeah, this is unusual. We'll just redo the order, redo the shipping like order. So it's like, okay, that was a few days ago. And so it should just be a little bit longer. Hopefully I haven't gotten a new confirmation about a new like shipping, like tracking number or anything like that, but just waiting. I don't know. I mean, it would suck if I just lost the opportunity of 2 more Funko like Iron Mans, but if I just get a refund, it is what it is. I mean, this is part of the fun or aspect of doing digital versus physical, right? Things get lost, things get stolen, things get damaged, things get misplaced, orders are gone. You have to redo it, or they're just like, hey, sorry, actually the boxes can't be found. We're just going to refund you the money. That never happens with digital. So that is one nice thing. So plan on Hawkeye drop vibes. I talked about it a bit earlier, but before we jump in, let me go ahead and bring on a special guest. We actually got Pixel Trader here with us. So he's hung out with us before. So longtime collector on Veve, as well as Omi and other platforms as well, right? So nice to have you on.
Hello, how's it going? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Maybe cool. Let me see if I can, is there a way to turn you down just a little bit?
How about that? I'm on a mic boom. I can move it.
Oh yeah, you're fine now. You sound perfect. So
cool. Thanks.
What's up? All right, I'll put it off to the side here. There we go.
Yeah, I figured I would jump on. I'm glad you mentioned the stream coming up with doctor stuff. That'll be a good one for Omi. Yeah. I'm pretty deep into Twitter Spaces and Twitter, the feed, and so VeVeVerse and Omi are big topics right now. So we can talk about that or just anything else, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of just following chat, what people are saying in general. Someone said there was a rumor that there's a class action lawsuit like incoming. I know there's already one that Veve's dealing with like some guy and whoever, but is there supposed to be like a new one? Have you heard anything like that?
I haven't heard about a new one, except for some people saying that someone should start one, for missed promises, this and that. So I don't know of a new one. I'm aware of the old one that's been going on with the ex-employee for a while, which people have pulled up public information about that, but I have not heard about a new one. I think people are kind of getting anxious to put pressure on VV and they just keep raising the levels of pressure and threats and just whatever. But yeah, you're going to have a tough case if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. Big A says, sold all my Omi for Matic at 57 cents a few months ago and not looking back. It may do something in the future, but I'm okay missing out. Still love VV though. Anything on that take?
VV's or Omi has always been a wild card. And I did have a space recently with O'Milly and Ron Cryptotherapy, who knows this stuff. Ron, I've been in his thing chatting for a while, but it's good to get different perspectives because there's still people that are, die hard no matter what. And people are like, it's taking too long. And there's still people that are saying it's going to do nothing ever. So usually the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? Not either extreme. But I think people are extra frustrated right now because almost everything has been pumping like pretty hard the last couple of days or at least the last week or so. And just sitting there watching them, we just sit there. So, everyone has their own strategy. It depends on how big your bags are. For some people, they might say, this is the best opportunity I've had in a while to buy the dip and just be patient. And other people are like, this is taking too long. Solana's hitting $60. Cast was hitting 8 or 9 cents. And, IMX is pumping like, sorry, Omi, I waited too long. So I don't blame anyone for selling and moving their money right now.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same thing too with people selling their collectibles on VV. I'm sure you were here. I mean, you've been here for a long time, since at least Golden Moments on here. But I remember just people were just getting like ostracized by like selling collectibles like during the bull run, all that stuff. Like, what are you doing? And blah, blah. And like, you're down so much. Like my whole take is, people are like, why are you selling your collectible when it's down 90%, 95%? I'm like, well, first off, everything is down 90%, 95%. But if you genuinely feel like what you're selling, and then if you buy something else, if you think that is going to go up more than what you currently have, like, I don't think that's like a terrible move. So, it's like if you sold your, I don't know, Homer and Bart's a bad example, but if you sold one of your Golden Moments that was at 1,000 gems, now it's worth 50. But if you could sell that and then buy something else for 50 that you think is going to go up more than what you currently have, like that's, it's not a terrible move, right? Rather than just holding and holding and holding. I mean, everyone's a bit different, but sometimes there's a new IP, a new drop, a new something that you're like, all right, I'd rather have X-Men #1 comics versus this other collectible or this other comic, right? But
yeah, and some people, they don't want to put in any fiat. Their strategy is they put in this amount and like they're done. So if they're gonna play a drop or go for something else, they'll just take the hit, right? And there was a time where you was play every drop, everything's profitable. You always had kind of like a piggy bank. You could sell something for profit and like have some gems to play drop. Now it's the opposite. You're struggling to look for something that you're probably up on to get some cash. And like you said, some people were just like, I'd rather not try to catch a falling knife on this item or that item and just get out. Some of it's just peace of mind, right? Some people, they don't want to sell it in a, if you're down 90%, some people are like, I'll never sell that. I'm just going to wait it out. I'd rather sell it 50% or break even in the future. Some people are like, it's down that much. I'm out. I don't even want to look at it anymore and just get it out of my brain. So it's personal strategy, of course, but I've never understood why people, they call it pocket watching or whatever, just watching other people's moves and what they're holding, what they're selling. And you never know people's reasons, right?
Yeah. And that's the other thing too. It's like, people are like, why are you selling when it's down so much? It's like, all right, if you really think, Aquaria, I don't know, I just pulled up like a random like Murmur Corner. Like if you think it's going to go back up to, 50 gems, like where it's the all-time high was, then like, hey, go for it. But if you sell that and you buy, I don't know, a different comic or something like that you think will perform better, that's always an option. But all right, let me just catch up with chat here. I'm still accumulating Omi and stuff from Veve. The majority of the community can't be satisfied regardless of how many interviews came out. I agree with that. And I think people are always going to nitpick certain out of context comments, especially when it comes from David U, right? David U talking about Omi or VeVeVerse or any of that stuff. Like he's going to say some things that are slightly out of context. And I think he even had like a follow-up video or tweet where he said like, by the way, like when I say certain things about some of these projects I'm not familiar with, I'm not saying it's like 100% matter of fact. I'm just kind of like just seeing what's going on and trying to present it the best way I can to like, obviously, he's just trying to not satisfy our curiosity, but like put us at ease, but he's trying the best he can and verbalize it. And sometimes he doesn't do the best job. And so people take something out of context, they twist it and now it's FUD and this and that. And then I don't know, but I definitely see what you're saying, Ellen Bats.
Well, I think people forget too, David is not just there to make people happy, right? It's not a pep rally. It's they're there representing all of their other brands, things that have no one knows about yet. They have to really kind of be careful. I mean, honestly, Veve, the amount of interviews and things they've been doing recently is far more than you see from a lot of other companies. And they are a company first, not, a small crypto project of a, anonymous team, or like they're an actual, thriving company and app that has a crypto aspect to it. So, I mean, I think they do a pretty good job of, trying to tell you what they can without telling you too much, because, they can get in trouble if they leak the beans on something, right? Whether it's good or bad news. So I can see where people can see these interviews last week. And I saw some people saying that we had all these interviews from David and Dan and Spaces and VeVeVerse. I'm like, there's no good news at all. It's like, no, what are you talking like? If that's the way you want to see it, you're going to see it right that. Like, unless they get something major catalyst, they're just unhappy. But if you actually piece apart what they said, there's a lot of building blocks, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like Big A's comment here. It says, if you look at it from Veve's perspective, as such a successful company, like Omi is the only liability to them. What benefit could they have as a company to push Omi other than not upset bag holders? I think it's interesting because I think Omi is probably, I mean, other than Pokemon, right, or whatever, but it's probably their biggest multiplier they have, like in Veve. Like if they can finally just get a lot of the regulation around it, like settled internationally, all this stuff, if they kind of get all that stuff, if they get the green light in the right kind of way, and they can integrate Omi the way they want, that's going to be like the biggest multiplier. It's like tons of cash flow coming in, tons of Web3, tons of crypto people coming in. People can now leverage their points there, or their Omi, or this. Like, I think it's one of the biggest multipliers. Other than like I just did Pokemon's name, because if Veve announces Pokemon, shit's gone loose. At that point, that's probably the only thing that can. But it's like, all right, if Omi works the way that everyone kind of thinks about, or the way that Veve wants, and they're not hampered by weird regulations or possible regulations, I think that's their biggest multiplier personally. But they have to be extremely careful.
Well, yeah, and I think you're right about it's the potential. Like every crypto, you're buying the future potential. You're not buying like, well, it does this, and like you're buying future burns, you're buying future potential utility, you're buying future, like anyone buying even stocks, you're buying into the future, right? So I think for a lot of people, even the people who are pretty darn bearish on Omi, experienced traders and crypto people, still say, I'm not buying it, I'm not touching it, but it still has 100x potential. Like if they do this, this, and that, and like, they're being pretty fair with that. They just, need some catalysts to go in their favor. But yeah, so for a lot of people, I said this in the last space, a lot of people in Veve, Omi is their very first crypto, which is a hell of a crypto to start with if you have no experience in riding a bull market into a deep bear market. I mean, I almost feel bad for people if this is their first crypto ever. It's definitely not your typical crypto experience. Yeah. I mean, people were buying Tesla for the Cybertruck 4 years ago, and it's like still not here. So it's like, all right. ExecuSpeak says, I got roasted by a ton of people for selling my wallet at 30K. Very different times back in the day. Yeah. I think a lot of people wish they sold back then. And kind of like what, Pixel Trader said, like that was their first bull run. It was my first bull run, like actual bull run that was present. I'm sure there was other ones that happened in the stock market or this or that, and like the economy, and maybe for crypto, and obviously multiple times for crypto as well. But I was either too young or just didn't know enough about crypto that all I heard was like, okay, Bitcoin's up to this price. And I'm like, wow, that's insane. Maybe I should buy some. I remember, gosh, it was probably 6-7 years ago. I remember thinking about buying ETH. I don't even remember what the price was. I was living in San Francisco at the time, and I had like $500 or $600 to like just kind of invest. And I'm like, I don't know about the stock market, but this whole like ETH and crypto thing seems to do really well. Bitcoin's too expensive. I might just try and buy some ETH. I was going to put like $700 in it, like $500 or $600 in it 7 years ago, but I just didn't know enough about it. And I heard about scams and all that stuff. I was like, okay, whatever, I'll just leave it. It was just too much barrier to entry. So like I've been here through multiple bull runs, but didn't know enough about it, or just couldn't get over the barrier of entry to know enough about it. So yeah, or if you're just younger, like I said, you're kind of just watching, right? You're just observing. You're hearing about .com bubble and housing this and that, and real estate, and you're just like, okay, that doesn't affect me when you're not invested, or you're younger. But now people have some money, they're putting in, into these digital items, whether it's crypto or NFTs. But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, and then Jeff says you can still make a profit, but it's harder now than before. I think he's talking about Veve. Lurking Jeff. Good point. And then ExecuSpeak says it was his first bull run too, and then his first 3,000 dips after that one. So averaging 50 dips a day, something like that. I guess depends on what you're looking at, right? Well, it's funny because at 30,000, you probably remember Execu Speak. People were making fun of you because they're saying it's going to go to 100K, right? And so it's easy to have hindsight. And people often on Twitter like to make calls after the fact. I called this and I said that, and like very few people do it in real time and like own up to it because everyone's just taking percentages, right? Everything's just an odds game. If you're 51% right more than not, then you're winning technically, right? But yeah, if 30K off of what you paid for it. What was it? Was it $333 for a wall at the time?
Yeah, it was 333 for a wall.
I mean, that's a pretty dang good ROI, right? And even if you were buying into the market, at higher prices later, I mean, it's hard to say that's a bad move. Even if it goes to 100K, right? That's still only like a 3x from where you sold it.
Exactly. And then Big A says, was mining ETH in 2017 and 18 was getting like 10 ETH a month for about $800 in electricity. Good times. Man, that's nice. Good deal.
Yeah, now the ASIC miners have kind of destroyed that. I thought about buying a Caspa ASIC miner when it was just under a penny. And they were pretty damn expensive, and they finally came out, and now it's definitely different now that it's like 8 or 9 cents. But yeah, mining back in the day, if it was more like for the tech and the fun. But if you just did nothing but just sit on it, then yeah, you're making out pretty well. I think Sleepin was mining for a while too, and some others I've heard that were into mining that you didn't know at the time. It was so new. You just sell it to get your money back or whatever.
Exactly. But all right, we're pretty much actually one last comment, then we'll jump into the market. Are you still buying Omi or VV NFTs, Pixel Trader, or are you just hanging back for now?
I'm doing both. I'm being pretty patient. I think that for Veve, I bought, kind of like you, I bought a decent chunk of the stack of the last 2 Spider-Man comics. I really like those. Luckily, I was able to flip and make profit off some like low mints I got. I'm not going for very many drops unless the odds are good, to make some profit. I'm kind of waiting for bigger grails. My strategy now is chill, wait for grails, wait for hype to die down. I buy a lot of things that are, people aren't paying attention to. I have my wish list that I just watch all the time. And if something goes way under my price target, then I'll scoop one up and then just move on to the next thing. So patiently accumulating, not chasing any pumps. For Omi, I have my stack. I will slowly nibble at it. If there's a big day, like not long ago, we were down like 8% or something in like 24 hours or 48 hours. I'll nibble a little bit more. But the pressure is building. So something's got to give. Either we're going to fall off a cliff again or we're going to start taking off. That's kind of, you don't want to be, as people say, too greedy to the downside, waiting for 0005s or 0004s. If you have no Omi, and if it goes, back up to double zeros, now you're going to be kicking yourself. But that's my strategy, patiently accumulating, but I'm not YOLOing. I have plenty of big bags to be happy with what I got, even if I don't touch anything. But actually, even recently, there's the last couple of months, if you're smart, you are profitable on a good amount of collectibles and comics, actually.
Yeah, a lot of them the floors are getting thin on a lot of them. Bill says, after seeing my collectibles video about Spider-Boy, I bought 17 comics on the store, got one SR, 2 URs, 4 rares, and the rest commons, and rest comics were commons and uncommons. It was a crazy day. Dude, that's a fantastic pull. I mentioned earlier in the stream, I bought 10 commons, 2 uncommons, and then 1 secret rare. So did end up technically being profitable, like after everything was said and done. I kind of wish I sold my secret rare when it was closer to like 190. I thought about it like 4 or 5 times, but I just hesitated. And I have a weird thing about like not selling SRs when I land them. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I know I could just rebuy it later. But then again, every time I've sold a secret rare, I never ended up rebuying it because there's always something else. So it's like, I kind of like the cover. But did you play the drop, Pixel? Or how many did you get?
Yeah, the last couple Spider-Man drops there. Last 2 I did. That felt like kind of a no-brainer to me. For $7, it's popular, it's low mints, it's got a lot of future speculation. They're kind of newer comics, but I pulled the trigger on that. Luckily, I made profit on the ones I got. I didn't go chasing any secret rares, but I had to get a couple ultra rares of both of them. Yeah. Big A said he got full of comments. I don't know what it was, but there are some people that either got very lucky like this. I mean, you got 1, 2, 3, 7. Yeah, like almost a little bit less than half of your Thingsville was like rare or higher. And there's a lot of people that like 90% of their 90% of their purchases were just like commons. Which is crazy, but speaking of luck, you see Rolly's. I don't know if Rolly ever tweeted, but Mr. Rolex's Funko boxes are pretty unreal. Was it 11 or 12? And I think he got
1 common.
One common was the lowest thing he got. I was like, oh my god!
And everything else was
low mints. It's like that is a hell of a pull.
Yeah, I think he got like like 6 or 7 rares, like 2 ultra rares, 1 secret rare, and the rest were like 1 common, the rest were like uncommons or whatever the versions are. But he said there was like a trick he kind of knew with like the boxes or something like that he mentioned. But
yeah, some people would likely get upset about that, right? But if you're being smart, I mean, you just learn the game, learn the system, like take advantage of it. If I knew there was a trick, I would be buying them off eBay and stuff too, right? I would ask for a picture of the code or the box number and, you know, try it out a couple of times because, you know, and he's a true collector. So, you know, he's going to hold on to those. And so and you can see the passion, even in the people here hanging out, talking things that they're going for, they're buying stacks of them. It's pretty cool.
It's got some more pulls here. Bought 2 Iron Man Funkos, and they were both mint uncommons. Rip. Yeah, there's a few people that got. Apparently, Big A's dad got an SR, so that's awesome. Did he use the code yet? Because that's the last one that's left, right? The last number 1 is just the SR. Everything else has been kind of claimed already.
How it's like a movie store. It's like a movie, right? It's like all the other ones have been claimed except the SR. And some people have stored them away. They're not opening their box until maybe, you know, towards the very end when they're going to be unredeemable. So the chase is on, I guess. But you have 2 coming in, so I'm crossing my fingers for you. Even if you don't get SR, some low mints would be pretty damn cool. I mean, 1 SR on the floor. Is the SR still around $5,000 on the Funko floor? The digital?
Yeah, let's check. And then in the meantime, Slider says that we're running low on editions on things in the market. Not everything now gets undercut instantly. I've seen some comics, the floors get raised and it takes a day for the floor to go back down. Yeah, there's some stuff that like there was actually one. Let me just quick look at the SR for the Marvel. Yeah, it's at 4,500 right now, essentially for the black and gold Iron Man. But there was, oh my gosh, I forgot. It's I keep forgetting Dazzler's number. Let me see here. Dazzler comic. Let me just look it up.
Yeah, that SR is the best of both worlds. So think about this. You can get an SR, which is at least currently 4,500. And if you get a low mint, you multiply that and you got the physical, which is probably going to continue to go up. I mean, that's like a triple trifecta of profit off of $150.
That it? It's X-Men 130. Yeah, it is X-Men 130. Okay, so I'll do 130 here. Do the comic. This one's like pretty. Where's the common? There it is. It's up to like 13 gems right now, which is kind of crazy for a common. Like it's pretty high for a common. I mean, that's actually higher than some of the other like Amazing Spider-Man comics with like the villains like Scorpion and Rhino, and I think even higher than Vulture right now too, which is kind of crazy. I think it's just because the mints are super low. That one only has, I think, 5,000 to it.
Well, I haven't looked, but I could take a guess of the certain people who are stacking that, because like I said, it's a low mint, it's a high speculative one, it's kind of fun and newer, and so it doesn't take a whole lot of money to pump the prices on those. If you want to just put in a couple $100, you can move the floor pretty far.
It's like Dazzler is higher than like ASM 1, Fantastic Four. I mean, those are 60K mint ones, right? But it's as of right now, it's like higher than Punisher, then Beta Ray Bill, and then Sandman, Black Panther, Daredevil. Oh, well, Daredevil's like at the higher mint, but it's pretty much just shy of where like Vulture is, and then also Lizard, which are like very, very classic Spider-Man villains.
Right now, still hoping for them to bring some kind of burning or crafting to these older ones, something in the future. And they had talked about that, but that's the only thing holding down some of these amazing comic books is just the mint size are so high, right? So if they can slice those in half or a fourth, then these things are going to take off as they should.
Gotcha. Shakespeare says, can we talk about the difference from Maestro to the other Hulks? Had to pick a few up today. Are we talking about just price wise? Like, I don't know the lore about it like at all. I think if I just do a Hulk, it'll pop them up. But yeah, I'm not really too sure the difference of those. Slacking. Every time I see Dazzler, I think of how terrible she was in X-Men arcade game. Yeah, she was like my least favorite one to play in the arcade. Did you ever play that game, the arcade?
Yeah, and I forgot about her character. It was pretty bad in that game.
She looked different though in that one. She was like an 80s version of whatever, right? So what was it? It's still in comics. Hulk. Collectibles. I don't know why it's showing. There we go. It's Maestro.
I think it depends on what your goals are aside from price, because these got played really, really hard around the whole the whole crafting situation. So they're all cheaper than what they were before. So it's kind of just preference. If you just want the Green Hulk, I mean, long term, I would either go for the lowest mint one or just get the original OG Green Hulk and just chill.
Yeah, it's hard to say because it's like OG Green Hulk, I think will do the best. Red Hulk has the animation. Planet Hulk is the lowest mint, and then Maestro is obviously the cheapest one. So it's kind of whichever one you want to go for. And then She-Hulk is just there. So I don't know about that.
Yeah, the Grey Hulk, I haven't checked recently, but it's not doing so great, I don't think.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of people, they've kind of learned over the last multiple craftings, right? That they want the secret rare, they're just going to wait and just buy it later.
Yeah. Someone was asking earlier about the Hawkeye drop. Are you playing that at all? Or like, what are your thoughts about the Hawkeye drop, which is one, just like the collectibles themselves, but also to the crafting mechanic? Because you actually have to buy, or you don't have to buy them, but you have to at least own, whether I think it's the store or the market, in order to craft Ronin. So you need both of them to craft Ronin. And it's another 50 gems to craft Ronin. So like if you want to do everything through the store, you'd have to pay 50 gems for Hawkeye, 50 for Kate Bishop, and then another 50 for Ronin if you wanted to buy them just through the store.
I think if they were gonna do this, I think the mints are semi-low. I think if they're gonna do this, this would work better on something really, really popular, because people would be happy to throw $50 at something 3 times. For these characters, I don't know if they're popular enough, because everyone just wants the Ronin, right? So the kind of say you can't get it unless
Ronin
you
or
chase
Hawkeye,
these two.
say. Yeah.
Then I mean, I think I kind of like the art style. I think it looks cool. It looks unique. This is something that we just started recently seeing. But for me, I'm not gonna go for this guy. I would probably just watch Ronin. If he goes low enough, maybe I'll snag one, or Hawkeye. But I'm not gonna go for the crafting per se. If history is anything at its, repeats itself at all, it's probably gonna be unprofitable unless you get lucky and you get some low mints or something.
Yeah. Did we put out an article about this? I think this looks like another one of those like cell shading art styles, right? That they're doing. I think it's pretty much the exact same thing that they did for like Professor Xavier, Magneto, as well as Kingpin. I ditched my headset. All right, I'm back.
Yeah, it's kind of cool, and I'm glad they're trying this stuff, right? Because that was one of the things early on. I was trying to think about the collectibles we have, like how will this look in the VeVeVerse? Because some of the styles are all over the place, right? Some are more reflective, some are darker, some are more saturated than others. So this art style, matches more what people used to, whether it's comics or video games or movies or whatever.
Yeah,
or cartoons.
And then cover your eyes, people. But it's gonna. Every time I click view in 3D, it just goes bright screen for a cool like 2 seconds. Big A says Red Hulk looks good though. I stacked a few of those. Yeah, Red Hulk actually does look really good. I agree with that. I'm all for trading in like 10 comics for a variant cover, however they do it. The comics are the only thing that has never had any crafting or anything, and they are still doing very well. That is true.
Yeah, the comics is probably also one of the biggest, possible wild cards on the app. That looks really good. The animation on that guy. It looks like it's just straight out of a video game, like a PS5 video game. But yeah, you're right. I think the fact that they've done so well, right, even with insanely high mints and our current audience, is a testament to, the comic book fandom is pretty damn strong. And if they want to throw their weight around, they can. So the more comic fans we get, or like I said, if we cut down on the edition size with some kind of crafting or burning, I would not be surprised if, now it's hard to get any of the comics that you wanted before. Some of like the really, really high tier ones, AF-15 or Marvel Comics 1, whatever. Yeah.
I love saying this guy's name. One ton mon. It's like 1 ton mon. He says, good afternoon, my guy. What do you use to scope the VV markets on mobile? I just use the same one that I've been using for a while now, which is my NFT tracker. It actually looks pretty decent on mobile. If you're trying to do like simple searches and stuff, that's great. But if you're trying to do like large scanning and try to cover a lot of collectibles or comics at once, I mean, obviously doing mobile, you're kind of limited, but yeah. And then Sven says, buy two craft and sell Ronin, 150 gems, free 2 items. Do you think that's what's going to happen? Do you think people are...
You don't burn them, right? You just have to use them, I believe it said. So you're not losing anything. You just keep them.
Yeah, what he's saying is like, okay, buy the 2 that are needed to craft Ronin, then you just sell Ronin for 150 and now you just get 2 collectibles for free, right? Essentially, I doubt that's going to happen, because if people are selling it for 150, people will just buy in the store. I don't think it's going to sell out. I don't think the thing is going to sell out, because people are just going to buy in the store. Because if people are just doing this for the collectible, like the Ronin or whatever, I think you'll be able to buy Hawkeye for under 50. You'll definitely be able to buy Kate Bishop, I think, for under 50 as well. So it's like, at that point, why not just buy the other 2 collectibles for 80 instead of 100 and then crafting it? I'm really curious to see how the market's going to react to this, because it's just a weird notion where I think it's going to really suffer in the store, because people are just going to resell the Hawkeyes, and like, because you technically don't need to buy from the store, you just buy it off the market. And I'm trying to remember what Randy said. It was kind of weird, but he was like, he's like, what it would be kind of cool if you bought a Hawkeye that's just been like all used up like 14 times to craft like a bunch of Ronins across like 10 different accounts, and you're like the 14th person to use it to like craft Ronin or whatever. But
just a dirty, beat up,
just dirty, beat up, just getting passed around to all these collectors, these people. But it's true. It's like all you need, like in a not perfect world, but in a crazy world, it's like technically you could have 600 Ronins and only like 100 Hawkeyes and 100 Kate Bishops if they just keep selling over and over and over, right? Like you could technically do that, but unlikely. But
yeah, I think it'll probably what it usually does is that the people who really want to go for it, there's so few, there's a good amount left in the market, so the price starts to rise and people start buying because they're looking for profit. Like kind of cycles back and forth until either they close it out or it sells out. But it's interesting. I mean, I'm glad they're trying stuff like this, even if there's things I'm not going for, I don't love it. Like I'm glad they're continuing to try different things like this.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier on the stream. Is I'm glad they're at least trying something like this, because they could always do this later if they wanted to with old sets. Hey, if you, like I said, with R2D2 and C3PO, if you craft them together, you get BB-8, which is a little rolly ball version for like whatever. They could do whatever they want, right? But hey, you have to own these 2 collectibles, and then it's almost like another drop, because they can just ask for another 50 gems, right? Or 80 gems or whatever the price is. But it's like an old collectible from like over 2 years ago, right? So I kind of like that they're actually trying different stuff. And part of me is actually okay with the fact that these aren't like the most popular characters, because I feel like if they did this with Wolverine, it'd be very successful like in the store. But just for strictly experimental purposes, I think this is okay with something like Hawkeye. And I think Ronin is cool enough that people will actually chase it, like the character. So
yeah, I think that the really, really, really big characters like Wolverine and some of the others, like I'm curious how they drop those, because that's going to be wild. Whether it's low mints or crafting burn, like whatever they do with the big ones like that, that's because that's one that people will just throw all their money at and like just just take my money. Wolverine, I have to have it no matter what.
Yeah. What's up, VV Wheels? And One Tone says, what do you think of the recent surge of volume in the golden moments? Skateboard was 75 and then pumped it at 160. Barnhover 2X also. Yeah, it's just the Simpsons episode, right? I haven't watched the whole episode, but I heard enough about the plot as well as just the little snippets of when they showed the like golden moment version, right, of the dog. And so, yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. And that's kind of the only way to make profit nowadays on VeVe, to be quite frank, is like you either get really lucky on a drop, right? Like you land an SR on a comic, or you land a very high, whatever, collectible, or you get like a low mint, or you play to just kind of like you put your ear really close to the ground on like Twitter or X or whatever, or you wait for like some sort of OMI utility announcement. You wait for some sort of social media thing, or a big company or one of the big IPs that VeVe has announces something, and then people get excited for it. A lot of speculative plays that pump. I mean, that's what I did with. I actually don't mind owning it, but that's what I did with when VeVe posted the tweet about like Big Bird's feet with the skates like 2 or 3 days ago. I just bought a gold Cookie Monster. Like I do want it. I bought it for 15. But if it does go up in value a significant amount because of the announcement, I'm more than happy to sell it. But, it was just kind of like a short-term spec play where it's like, all right, maybe they announced Big Bird or some other stuff, and people that didn't buy it might get Cookie Monster. I've always wanted Cookie Monster. I was just like, all right, now seems the time to buy, because I do think the price can move up a bit. When they announce, it's more of a,
I think the short term, it's up to the individual. But I think the biggest thing, if you watch Twitter, it's The Simpsons has always been had a cultural influence, right? So I think not even VeVe people, but all these other like OpenSea projects and people in PFPs, they were losing their minds that NFTs was like public, on a huge stage. And although they're kind of making fun of it, and that's the silliness of Simpsons, is all of a sudden all these projects were spin off. Like, okay, where's the Simpsons NFT? Who's got them and who's making one? And like all these goofy random Simpsons project twists came popping up. But VV fan was there saying, hey, we have first appearance Simpsons. So I think it was more of people like bringing awareness and playing into like the fun of it and the whole degen thing, and prices are crazy. And I think for some people, they went from a spec play like really quickly to like, okay, I should probably own at least one of these. Well, because to me, I mean, the more I honestly think about the Homer Simpson one, the more kind of bullish I get long term, because it's FA Golden Moments, it's FA Bart and Homer, it's FA Disney drop. It's now becoming like a cultural meme thing. Like things are starting to stack up as far as reasons why you'd want to own at least one of them. I'm not saying buy one right now, but I think that's making, for a lot of people, it's clicking. Is like, okay, we're no longer this weird underground discussion. We are on The Simpsons, and we'll probably be on South Park, and they'll probably be on TV, and they'll probably it starts to just become more commonplace to talk about it.
Yeah, it's mainstream. And on top of that, I don't care what people say, it's also FA battle statue, right? Way before Batman and Killer Croc.
It's FA battle statue. Violence, it's FA,
Oh, yeah. It's got it all.
They retired that. I forgot they retired that pose they were talking about.
Yeah, that was another reason. I think just those two big catalysts that like it was on the episode as well as them retiring it. I think both of those kind of helped put that out. And Sven, yes, we are pimping Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Yep. Adrian Comics says they should do a burn mechanic like the Marvel value stamps in the old comics. You collected one stamp in one comic, and you had to collect 100 stamps / characters in 100 different comics. That would be cool. I would love for something like that. I do think VV / Marvel is working on something like that. It's just tough because there's just so many of these, and I think it seems like VV has no issue doing that kind of utility or that kind of stuff with like future drops, or like, hey, we implemented this new tool or this new mechanic right for this drop coming up. It sounds like they might just be having some issue like being able to backdate or do old drops that have happened like a long time ago. It's hard to say, and I do think like you could say like, well, what about the Infinity Gauntlet? They dropped the Time Stone, and then the Tesseract was first, and then it wasn't until way later then they started announcing like, all right, now there's going to be a craft mechanic. I think that was already in mind like the whole time from the beginning.
I think you're right though. I think Adrian's right about like we just need some way to lower the additions on some of this stuff. Either we need super ultra bull market and some other help from VV as far as features and stuff to get them going, or just slash the additions and they'll do extremely well on their own. But there's so much. I mean, I think comics and particularly Golden Moments have so much potential. It's insane if they can find a way to just lower the additions. Yeah.
I think I like the, it's like Amazing Spider-Man #1. It's like right now I think it's selling for under 10 gems. Okay, it pumped up a little bit. I think it was at 10 gems at one point. So it's gone up a little bit. But, I mean, there's 60,000 mints of this. And, if you also look at like first appearance of Green Goblin, it's like 70,000 mints. Just like way too many mints. If we're talking 15, 20 years from now, and like Vivi's a household name and there's, millions of users, okay, that's not that many. But for right now, or at least to like, when people join the app, at least to get them like initially intrigued. I don't know. I think we do need to burn it. I'm kind of okay if they don't do a burn. I would love a burn, but I do kind of like the concept that, okay, you can kind of join VV right now and grab like a pretty decent like rail comic for like under $20. It would kind of suck if that day, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love for like a lot of comics to just go up in value and I could sell stuff for a bunch of profit. But at the same time, I think the slow methodical movement of just like maybe not introducing burns too soon and just like catapulting a lot of prices up too high, because I don't know, we also have a lot of good comics too that are really cheap. Like you can get some like really good common comics for like under $3 that are still very notable.
And the licensors have to win too, right? I mean, if it wouldn't be smart if VV just do things that only like help pump the prices. Like the licensors aren't looking to make money just on the drop, or like they're looking to make money forever in perpetuity. Right? That's the benefit of having NFTs and royalties and everything. So for them, they'd have to see like, why is it worth burning a huge stack of our stuff? What do we get, and what's the drop? And what does it look like? And maybe they do the math of there's less of them, but the price is so much higher. And maybe there's a drop price to get or something, right? Like they have to win in the end as well. It can't just be we're moving editions so our users make more money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they'll get more in the secondary sales, right? Like, I mean, if they burn half of the Amazing Spider-Man #1s, and there's half as much as in circulation, then obviously the secondary sales are going to go up more. There might be less sales because there's less of them, but the sales themselves will go up.
Well, yeah, we don't know. It's new, right? It's if you kind of zoom out, it's either 60,000 editions over 10, 15 years of price activity, right? Or like you said, maybe 5,000 editions or 10,000 editions. Like which, even though the price is higher, does that beat 60,000? Because those are, even if there's high mints, the prices are, in theory, gonna, increase over time, and they're still gonna make fees on all those 60,000. But not everyone's gonna have one. People have stacks, right? So I do agree that it's cool that people can come into the app now and buy like things that are probably grails or almost grails, and they're not forking up a fortune. Like that opportunity might not be here in the future.
Yeah. NB asks, which golden moments besides Walt has the most potential? I mean, I just organized it from top to bottom. I mean, it's hard to tell. I don't know if we're talking about utility or price wise or which one has the biggest fandom or whatever it is. Me personally, I think it's the two biggest ones are Star Wars and Marvel. I mean, Disney's going to do excellent too, right? Elsa, all that stuff. But for me, the way I look at it is there's only 2 Star Wars collectibles. There's only 2 Marvel I mean, one of them is Iron Man. So like whether people like the Avengers logo or not, that's up to them. But it's like, all right, if you're a Marvel fan and you want a golden moment, your only option is Iron Man or the logo. If you're a Star Wars fan, you want a golden moment, you only have 2 options and you can buy both and that's it. But if you're a Disney fan, like you said, aside from all, okay, you could buy the Sorcerer's Hat, you could buy Elsa, you could buy Wally, Chippendale, Disney logo, lamp. You have all these options. So like the money, I feel like it's spread a bit more across. I'm just talking strictly just IPs here, right? I mean, this is just the way I see it too.
I would agree. I would say probably Walt, then Star Wars, and then the Elsa one's pretty good. I mean, these are all actually pretty darn special. Some of them are double FAs, right? We just talked about why the Simpsons one is pretty special for a lot of different reasons. And I mean, FA Pixar, I mean, you can kind of pick apart each one and see why it's important. Double Donald, Daisy and Donald's a pretty darn big one. Pooh Bear's Matt's like, I mean, I could argue a case why the Disney logo alone is, could be a big deal. Some of the other characters that are lesser popular, but yeah, I would probably say Walt, Star Wars, and then Elsa and the Simpsons / Pixar set.
Yeah. And I think the pricing kind of reflects that. Like, I do think in general, Elsa is going to do very well. Is it going to do better than Iron Man? I mean, it is right now. But if we get more adults and more, I mean, let's just be honest, like Web3 is mostly dominated by guys that are going to be joining Veve and all that stuff eventually. It's like, yeah, a lot of dads might buy Elsa or whoever is going to buy Elsa. I do think Iron Man might outperform Elsa given enough time or with like enough people on the platform, especially since like Iron Man is basically the face of the Avengers. Like he kicked off the whole, MCU franchise, basically, that whole concept. But nobody knows, right? At the end of the day, no one really knows. So this could be way cooler if we had 3x666 editions of each with burning. If we had 3 times the 666 editions each with burning. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Sven. You might have to give a bit more. 3 times 6 each with burning. Yeah, I'm not too sure what that means. Super bullish on the Simpsons episode, and they had priced the golden moments at 427,000. They must have a big bag of golden moments. I thought David, you or someone said there's a reason why they used that number 427. I think it was something with like
you tweeted about it, but I didn't hear what it was from. I think David, you asked Dr. Profit, hey, do you want to know why? And everyone's like, yes. But I don't think David ever replied why.
I think he did. Let me see here. I'm just looking at it now to see his post. I thought it had something to do with like Simpsons episode 427. Something about an episode that happened that day. Or not that day, but like that episode. I'm trying to find it here.
You're looking at his replies?
Yeah, I'm just looking at his replies right now on the side.
When you're done with that, since you're on Twitter, I have something to show you whenever you're done.
Yeah, I guess he never replied. Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. I
never heard why.
No, he never. Do you want to know why? It's like, yeah, I'm just like, okay, never mind.
And he's gonna drop something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are we going to show me, or what are you going
to? If you just go to my profile, I basically just tweeted recently that I was getting excited about this VeVeVerse talk. Oh. So I've been playing. I just want to get your first reactions of my picture to see how well I did in real time.
Let's see.
Get to share your screen though.
Yeah. Do I have it on here? No, I don't. Actually, yeah, we'll just do it here. Let's look for Pixel Trader. There it is. Whoa, looks pretty cool. Is that are you in the VeVeVerse right now? Like in the beta?
I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it looks like it. Looks like you got an invite.
All right, looks cool.
This
I agree.
Yeah.
No, so I just wanted to see if it was like semi-believable because the lighting and the character of Miles versus everything. This is Unreal 5. I'm in Unreal 5. I'm playing around in there, and I took a screenshot on one of this. This is actually like a lowish setting.
It does look a bit different. Like the detail on Miles looks a bit different than like the background and everything else. So I did notice that, but
and I didn't really tweak him to like make it look believable. I just kind of threw him in there to see like a quick example of, because the VeVeVerse is moving to Unreal 5 later. They're currently on 5.31 or something, 5.3. And this is on lowish settings, so you probably can't tell from here because it's on like a high resolution image, but it looks unbelievable in there. And I just kind of want to see what could it look like with one of my collectibles in there, just to give an example. But if you also YouTube Unreal 5 Superman, there's a guy who made a little demo game of flying around in third person, and that looks amazing. And that's not that we're getting this tomorrow or anytime soon, but you can kind of just open your eyes to the potential because you saw in the trailer or the VeVeVerse demo of the creativity, right? Like this insane stuff these guys made, and it's only going to get better and better and better. And they're going to probably have prefabs and other things you can drop into there and pre-made things from people, and could be a city. And what I'm hoping is that the artists and these Vaultaholics can get paid for some of the early work, right, that they sell. But then also you can just build, like this is a lowish setting. It looks pretty good to me. I didn't even do the higher setting for a city, and you can run around and do stuff in there, and it's pretty cool.
No, yeah, it looks awesome. I don't know, like what's your reaction to like the whole VeVeVerse like demo thing they put out? At least for me personally, like I played a lot of video games. I played a lot of like customize your own world video games and stuff like that, whether it's like Minecraft or Gary's Mod or Halo Forge or whatever it is. There's a lot of places where people craft their own worlds and do their own things. And so it looked awesome. I guess for me, it was just like, it was like, okay, this is cool. Like the concept and all that stuff is awesome. And you can make definitely very unique stuff. I mean, the person who built it did an amazing job, but I was not like disappointed, but it's like, all right, it's still like 95% imported assets. I could spot the VV collectibles like here and there, but it was still like a lot of just like imported assets and like other kind of like random things. So I think a lot of people were hoping for was actually like video of like how, like, what is it actually like? Is it hard to build this stuff? What does it look like to import things? Can I do this with collectibles? Can I hold my lightsaber? Can I do this? Like, they didn't explain a lot. It definitely showed like some of the capabilities, but not the like, day to day of like for your average builder, right? So what were your kind of reactions to it?
Yeah, I think my reaction was a little different than most too, because like I had similar experience in 3D modelers and some basic level editing and map makers, and back going 10 plus years, I would any game that came with a level designer, I was in there playing with it, and it didn't have any like industry quality stuff, but I'm very familiar with shapes and textures and sprites and modeling and environments and loading in assets, and so when they were talking about the Tales from the Rizzo, and then I think his name's Falcon and Brock were talking about how they play around in there, that I understood everything they were saying exactly. So to hear the potential, to me, that's what I was most excited about. Just hearing what you can do in there was amazing. And these guys are not professional designers or artists or modelers. They're literally just playing with tools in a beta and making some really cool stuff. But I can see how if you're not maybe listening or keeping up with VV, you wouldn't know what to expect, because you hear VeVeVerse beta demo, you're gonna think Unreal 5 like my picture. You're expecting something kind of like that, and then when you see this movie, which is a great movie and it's dramatic and everything, they're like, what? I don't get it, right? So I can see the disconnect there. To me, I enjoyed it though, because I was looking at the potential, the tools, the features. That's what I'm curious about. They can always upgrade the graphics and change things, and sounds like we're moving to Unreal 5, which is a photo that I shared on Twitter just to give people an idea what it looks like. And the sky really is the limit. I just want to give the creators the tools to make stuff and let the people run with it, right? And it sounds like there's going to be plenty more videos and pictures coming down the road. But yeah, it was. I found it extra enjoyable because I knew and could understand everything they're talking about. Especially Brock was talking about AI textures and environments and sprites and like all that stuff. I was like, you're talking my language. Now I'm getting excited. So I've been playing around with more metaverses now, including Unreal 5, kind of just getting myself ready, hopefully for a beta access or full access later.
Yeah, hopefully they do that. I know Dan Carruthers said that basically November 15th was going to be like the day that he's like, all right, like that's the day I'm going to make a decision. He didn't say he is going to invite people. He said that's the day I'm going to make a decision. Where
do you remember how many was it?
500 to 1,000.
Okay, 500. Okay, that's a good chunk of people.
Yeah, 500 to 1,000 is a pretty good chunk. So hopefully, you know, I kind of hope they invite also people that aren't like vaultaholics or people that have spent, you know, hundreds of hours in like the vaults. Like trying to invite people that haven't, you know, like I'm familiar with like map modeling and making and that kind of stuff, kind of, but like I'm more familiar with like stuff that's like a lot of pre-built or like pre-rendered stuff like Halo and all that stuff. Like you don't have to make all the walls yourself. I did have friends and stuff that did make things, you know, like old like Counter-Strike maps and stuff like that, like map makers that in that, you know, that kind of time period. But
yeah, I mean, I think we didn't hear about it. And this is kind of one thing I wish maybe you had kind of like a more thorough or polished presentation of what people can expect. Because not everyone, like I said, is following Veve or these guys' journey of creating this, you know, this cool, you know, demo. They're just going to say, VeVeVerse, show me something high graphic, really cool, you know, whatever. And they don't get that. And they're like, wait, what? So they don't really know the full story. So it was good to hear Brock and others talk about the social aspect and inviting your friends. And, you know, you could, you know, make things in there. And like, there's so many things you can do outside of just, you know, putting up static images or static props and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Someone wanted me to look at the ghost trap on the basically just on the charts. Yeah. It was at like 130. Yeah. It was at 130 just the other day. But the listings are so few. Like I'm looking at here, it's like listings were 14. Looks like someone bought one up, then it ran up to like 150. And then someone listed another one, but then it maybe delisted and like relisted it for something higher. So now it's at 185. So yeah, it did have like a little temporary pump, but I mean, we're talking 1 to 2 listings here. So it's hard to say, oh my God, it's pumping when it's probably one purchase and one relisting that people notice like, oh wait, the listing above mine is 50 gems higher. I might as well just delist mine, relist it for 40 gems so I can get more profit. But I don't, so I think a lot of people forgot about these. Like I can't remember the last time someone brought up Ghost Trap or Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or Slimer. Do you have any of these collectibles?
No, I honestly, I watch Stay Puft mostly in Slimer, and I want to get one eventually because I think they would just look ridiculously cool in the VeVeVerse. Yeah. Especially Stay Puft to like make the scene and blow him up like a Ghostbuster would be pretty cool. Yeah. I don't have him yet. Mints are kind of high, but I do watch him. I'll eventually get him, I'm sure.
Yeah. I do want to do, I don't know why, but like one thing that happens in a lot of these games, right, or the people make custom map stuff, it's like climbing levels. So I would love to just buy random collectibles with like really unique shapes and all that stuff where it's like you just make them huge, or you have to jump on the head of a bunch of Slimers to get to another part, and now you're like running up the back and you have to like jump over as like leg rolls and stuff like that. So people love doing climbing maps or just general stuff in it.
Yeah,
like
I know
that.
People are talking about gaming, and gaming's way down the road, but I think the first games they're going to get is exactly like you said, where it's climbing and racing, and you know, it sounds like there's some
very simplified
level
games.
Of scripting and triggers and stuff. So you might need a little human intervention, but for the most part, I mean, even right now they could make some kind of games in there, and maybe they aren't fully fleshed out, but I can already think of a couple games that would be pretty easy to make, you know, in the VeVeVerse right now, just with basic stuff without even advanced, you know, features.
Yeah, that's why I hope they give us some very simple tools and some simple scripts to, like I said, just give us a pad that anything that touches there launches you forward like 100 miles per hour. Like you can do that for racing, you can do that for like dodgeball. Like I don't know, I think it'd be hilarious to put people like in a little arena area, like almost just one-sided, and like one person is throwing random collectibles and they have to dodge it, and if you get hit, you die, right? And so it's like last person standing gets a reward, or they just win, or whatever it is. And then because as of right now, it just seems like I really hope the VeVeVerse isn't just a museum. Here's my collectibles, here's my setup. It's like, okay, that's cool for a while, but it's like I want something that's a bit more like a theme park where it's like I can interact with stuff, I could do fun things versus just, you know, because that's kind of what it looked like. And there were some things in motion, it seemed like, during the demo, right? I remember there's like an explosion and things were kind of getting pushed back. I don't know if that's like a frame by frame he did, or if that was actually like slowed down. It was like live action stuff getting pushed back. I don't know until I actually get into the thing. So,
and I think some of the stuff you couldn't see because it's a movie, so it's like kind of moving quickly, right? So the still images help later to kind of show the quality of the collectibles and lighting and stuff like that. But yeah, it sounds like they're going all in and they just want to give more and more features and more tools. And I think having Brock there Mr. Breadcat is going to be helpful because he works with 3D modelers. And he's got the fiche. He kind of talks that language as well, so he can help bring ideas. But I think it's a good mixture. If we have people in there who have no experience whatsoever, and then eventually the VeVeVerse is going to get into the hands of people who do have experience, and they're going to spend weeks or months, or imagine, someone who spent, 10 other, creators spent a year on one environment. This means it's going to be unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, MB was asking. He's the one that asked earlier about golden moments, like which ones to stack. Thoughts on Miles Morales? You are collectible, worth a stack. It entirely depends. I mean,
depends on your end goal. The next week, I don't know if you want to hold them for a couple years or 10 years. It's hard. I'm not trying to pump Miles because I have Miles, but it's hard to beat the trifecta of popularity, scarcity, future potential, quality. Mm-hmm. Like Miles kind of has everything. So I would get any kind of Miles if I didn't have any for the long run.
Yeah. And even then it's like, all right, do I go for the ultra rare because it's this full suit, or do you grab, even something that's just as simple as the rare? I'll put it on collectibles, just as rare, because that one actually has like the hoodie, the shoes, the short, like that's a different look. Maybe people are going to want the whole set. Yeah. But also like this mouse is the cheapest, so you might be able to sell these a bit easier. It really depends. It depends on your end goal, and then also obviously how big your wallet is, right? If you're talking about stacking, like, okay, you buy 2 or 3, okay, that's one thing. But if you're trying to buy like 10 to 15 of something, then at that point you're like, all right, we're talking like $5,000. All right, now is there something else that's better? Buying a couple of something else, like who really knows, right? Or it's like you can't go wrong with Miles, but at the same time, it's like, all right, do you even like the character? Do you think it's going to get popular in the future? Would you rather buy AF-15 commons? Like, would that go up more percentage wise than Miles? Like, no one really knows. But
I think he's asking about the UR too, because that's the same mint as the secret rare Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right. So it's interesting. I think we might be lucky right now that Vivi's kind of separated from crypto and Omi, because I can only imagine if they start Omi to NFT, and then Omi's on exchange, and things start pumping, and really getting like a true bull market in the future, people are going to start spending money, and they will sweep. People are going to just collect all of them. There's only 1,000 of them. Some guys are making 100 some K, 200 some K on crypto because things are pumping. You're damn sure he's going to start sweeping floors. And when the money printers are turned on, we've seen the power of when people start spending money, right? When money's just printed out of thin air every day, they start spending it. Even for me now, part of me is like, should I take some profits and do sweeping? And I'm practicing being patient too. But when the money is just flowing, the sentiment changes. It's crazy. It's all psychological.
Yeah. I guess my answer is like, you can't go wrong with Miles, but you also can't go wrong with C-3PO and R2-D2 FA golden moments. You also can't go wrong with Amazing Fantasy 15s. You also can't go wrong with Wall. Like, there's so many things. It's like, is this a good stack? It's like, probably. It's everyone's talking about it. It's like the next big thing.
Yeah, I think we have most people on BV. You said like, what are the top 5 collectibles in like this price range, like under whatever $1,000 or $700. Like Miles would come up in like everybody's top 5.
Yeah. Now let's just do it. So, just looking at collectibles between, say, 700 to 1,200. There's not a lot of collectibles in this range. Like this is pretty much it. Actually, it's less than that. What's Miles' range? At least let's do 800.
He's barely over 500. Yeah, right now.
Yeah. Okay. So 500 to 800. We'll even do like 400. I don't know. There we go. That's it. Todd's in that range. So one could argue like, yeah, Todd, because way more mints, but it's also just a very historical piece. It's also Batman, right? So, like it sounds like you're the type of person to already have a Todd. So, then Ben Reilly, I don't know
either.
Yeah. And then SR Luke, right? SR Luke, like how many Lukes are there? 519. There's technically actually less SR Lukes than there are UR Miles. So there's also that move as well. It's also like, people have known Luke Skywalker for what? How long now? For 50 years? 40 years? Something like that? Like 50 years? Something like that? Like he's very well known. Like
Well, I think too, the characters touch on kind of a different fan base, right? So there's, I think for the younger people, they like Star Wars, but the hardcore collectors are a little bit older, maybe like 40 plus, right? They're that part of that generation. I think the fandoms that do well are the ones that we've seen. Like Miles is kind of like the younger millennial-ish kind of fandom where they're getting a little bit older, maybe within their 30s or 20s. They got some money. They grew up on X-Men, despite like that's kind of hits that sweet spot as well, right? Versus some people, to Luke, I think he's cool, but I don't know. I have no gut feeling to chase Luke like I would, want to stack or chase a Miles.
Yeah. Is there a consensus that Miles is the top collectible on Veve? It depends on who you ask. I don't think anyone could debate that it's a top 3, but being like the top, I think it's, in my opinion, I would put it at number 1 because it's the perfect balance of looks great, low mint, popular, a lot of speculative upside, right? Like if Marvel keeps pushing it, like it has everything going for it. So in my opinion, it's a number 1. But for some people, if they're more of a Disney fan, they might say Walt. If they're more of a, Batman or like Veve fan, they might say Todd because, hey, it's like a quintuple FA, like on Veve, right? So,
well, I think you kind of sometimes you have to listen to the sentiment of the people, right? So if you look on Twitter, people celebrate buying just a rare Miles, like $300. Like they celebrate, like I finally got one. So it's definitely popular. The editions help, all that other stuff. So it depends on what you're looking at. If you're just looking at price, right? There's things that are more rare, more expensive, maybe per se, but we have a long way to go. And if we're just going to go off price, that's only one aspect. I think that it's going to be easy liquidity and all of that. It's just got a lot of things going for it for sure. It's easy to put it up there. I think, top 3 or top 5.
I also think some other kind of like minor sleepers are obviously just anything Veve related. Like this, like, even though it looks silly, this like Veve like robot guy. Like there's not a lot of like Veve. I think this is like the only Veve thing we have on the app, right? That's not a logo, other than like the comic that we got from Addicted. But like I think this little Veve like robot guy is the only other like Veve thing we have on the app. That's not.
I thought there was another Veve version of him, just called Veve, but maybe not.
This is it right here of the rabbit.
Yeah, I thought there was another one, like a different colored one that was also called Veve, but that's the secret rare, so I guess that's it.
Yeah, and so also just like the Veve IP itself, I think could also be a big upside as well. I mean, and that's another thing
the
too.
Logo the logo is up there in discussion. All it's going to take is.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the gold and silver logo. Ooh,
the logo alone is. There's so many people that want it and they're trying to get it. Randy kind of tracks it more closely, but there's so many people that like they have to have a logo that whether they pay $4,000 or $5,000 or like eventually it's going to get over a threshold where it's like 12K or 15 and then it's just gone.
Yeah,
right?
I think if you think Miles is going to do well, you also have to think the Veve logo is going to do well, because the only people buying SR Miles are whales or people with a lot of money, or maybe they got a ton of gems like very early on or whatever it is. But those same people that also buy Miles, they probably have enough money to buy a gold and silver logo. And if they really like Veve, they want to go to these events in person. I would say one of the main things holding back the gold and silver logo is that there's no utility outside of physical events. I mean, that's part of it, right? That's awesome. You can go to a party and do all that stuff, get little goodie bags and stuff like they did at the logo party in New York Comic Con. But like, as of right now, there's no utility outside of that. So it's like, if you don't go to these events, there's not a whole lot of reason to own one other than the fact that, it just naturally goes up in value. Like it's valuable in that sense. But
yeah, it's a cool throwback to the old logo. They're super rare. It was their first physical car. Like there's a lot of cool aspects. The fact that, David and them have said, we're going to make this kind of our forever utility thing. And I think the fans or the collectors are also going to do their own utility. I mean, Mr. MC1 and others, already throwing Veve Gold logo parties and groups and clubs. And it's just basically, you can also think that if you assume, there's a lot, it doesn't have to be OMI, it could be any crypto. If there's an easy way to take your crypto profits and put into Veve, if you have a big bag of something, say OMI or just whatever, if it goes up 5%, you should 50K, because some people have bags that big and way bigger, right? 5% could easily be 50K for some people. You're going to probably sweep the floor, right? You're going to spend 5 or 10K on logos or whatever, and now it's gone, right? It's just when the profit gets turned on, some of these super, super rare items, people want to keep them exclusive, right? So I still think there's a lot of money on the side just waiting for the queue to jump in.
Yeah. We'll probably end the stream here in a little bit. Just wanted to do a kind of a quick one. And I like streaming earlier in the day because I can see a whole lot of names that I don't see before. So a lot of people across the pond, a lot of people on the East Coast, things like that. I know Doctor of Stuff just started his stream just a few minutes ago. He's talking more in depth about OMI. But unless you guys have any more like burning questions or just want Pixel Trader's take on certain things, or if you guys want me to like look up a collectible or just get like a general sentiment on the market or whatever it is, let me know. We'll take a quick look, but we'll probably end the stream here pretty soon because I actually do want to see Doctor of Stuff stream and be active in there. And obviously we'll throw his link in the chat before we end the stream. MB said another pick is ultra rare Boba Fett, damn cheap. I mentioned that like a month ago that he is getting to half of his box price. Like he was 80 gems some time ago, and now he's basically at 40 gems. Let's just call it 40. He's at 43 right now, but there was a point where he was at 40. So ultra rare. Only issue, again, the thing that's holding him back is 6,000 mints. I think that means there's probably like 5,700 in circulation or whatever. But yeah, he's also a very popular character. But again, it's hard because right now it's getting to the point with the collectibles where it's like you have to these check boxes, right? Miles is like limited, popular, speculative, high quality, animated, boom, boom, like has all the check marks. With Boba Fett, it's like cool, animated, popular character. Mints are kind of high. Actually, mints are pretty high for where it's at right now. And then there's also variations of him. I think Miles is kind of the exception, but having variations of the same character, if there's only one version of a character, people have to chase it. You know, if you're a Luke, I'm gonna say Luke Skywalker because there's variations of him too. But I do think sometimes having variations of characters, like lower versions, kind of also pulls down the SR or like the highest version because people are like, oh, I can't afford the UR, I'll just buy the common. Like that's me with Thor. Like if there's only one Thor, I would probably chase it. But because there's 5 versions and I can buy Thor for 10 gems as a common and still own a FA, that's what I would do. But I think that's kind of what's holding back Boba Fett.
Yeah, I mean, we could look back easily, right? And people are complaining about, oh, he's only $40, and I should have. Sentiment can change so quickly, especially with VeVe. Everything is one tweet away from like, oh crap, the game is now changed.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I said Miles is kind of the exception because it's just low mints across the board. They're all very unique looking. They all look amazing. So it's like there's kind of a bit of a difference there. But when you look at like, Boba Fett, if someone's a big Boba Fett fan and they're joining VeVe, they're like, oh man, dude, I love Boba Fett. They're like, wait, I have to spend $40. For as a new user, that's a lot of money. Like $40 to throw in a digital collectible. But then they're like, oh wait, these are these other ones that look cool where he's actually shooting, and the other one where he's like in his classic stance. Oh, that's only $8. Okay, I'll just buy that. And then they're done. So I do think like solo collectibles just by themselves, in my opinion, end up doing a bit better than like variations because I do think like not only are there variations, there's also more of them of the cheaper versions, and so that also pulls down the price. So I don't know. But then a couple quick questions and then we'll end the stream. So Big Ace is Axe Pixel. What his biggest bag is, whether it's VeVe or Bitcoin or ETH, etc. So. You don't have to give percentages, but like which
I won't say my biggest bag, but I have it in my top 5 as far as like highest possible ROI. Your safest bets are, of course, Bitcoin and ETH is a close second. Caspa was in my top 5 forever. Caspa's done well. Solana as well. I like IMX a lot. Matic are some good ones. Quant's another larger cap that I think is really good and safe. Smaller caps like GFAL, Miri, some others. But I think OMI, I think for potential wise, the fact that it hasn't moved, might get the trickle down benefit. Hopefully, usually Bitcoin pumps strong, ETH follows, and altcoins follow. So what might happen if we get some good news whenever it is end of this year or Q1 or Q2 about OMI, even if we kind of miss the initial part of these pumps, people might trickle down into OMI. So I still think it does have that insane potential of losing zeros very quickly. And like I said, we've even had some people who are very, very bearish on OMI that are saying, if things go well, 50x, 100x, whatever, it does have that potential. I agree. Even though there hasn't been really any good news for a while, that doesn't mean that's going to be like that forever. I don't think VeVe is trying to disassociate from the coin or throw it in the garbage because they have not only no reason to do that, like that would, not only do they hold it, not only have they said as part of their ecosystem, not only have they said that they're, having a new blockchain team and David and Dave, all these other guys own it. There's almost no reason for them to destroy it. I can see the reason for them to be patient and slow, and it's frustrating, but just like dump it. And some people are saying it has no purpose besides, to raise money, pump and dump. I think that's a bit naive. Just, having looked and evaluated a lot of other companies in the past and projects, it's in their best interest to make it do really well long-term, maybe not short-term, but long-term as a company and a project. So it's a top 5 token for me still. Yeah.
Yep. So LM Bats, fantastic question to end the stream on. And then I might just throw out some like not recommendations, but just comics I'm keeping an eye on to possibly stack here in the near future now that I actually got some gems. So this one here says, if there was one feature yet to release you would like Veve to have in 2024, what would it be? One feature. You want to go first, or you go? Or do you already have?
Sure, you can go first. Yeah,
that is tough.
Update Electra, upgrade her.
Yeah, upgrade Electra. That's all I want. You know, just not undo a Lenectra. I think one is either something with comics. I don't care what kind of mechanic it is: burning, crafting, combining, or I don't know, something with burn with something with comics. Just like literally anything with comics outside of just stacking MCP points and putting them up on the wall, right? That's a big one. And then but part of me wants to say like OUP and all that stuff. So OMI pumps, like I just don't think that's going to happen with like just the regulatory landscape of just like crypto and all that stuff. So that's why I didn't select. Like I would love OMI utility, just like have it be in full swing, and now I can, you know, have it go up in value and all that stuff. But for me, it's like just something with comics. That's what I would love to see. I mean, there's a lot of market mechanics I would like to see on Veve, but I don't want to get into that right now. So, what about you?
Yeah, there's a lot of things I could think of. If I had to guess, I would say start rolling out features of MCP, because that really is the gatekeeper to everything. All these master collectors, all these points, you know, part of that's OUP, it's now part of MCP. But I think people they're anxious. They want to spend money. They want to spend their points. They want to get involved. They're just kind of like, you know, there's nothing really for them to do yet besides play drops and, you know, check out the market. So I think unlocking MCP, and if they get that right, that's going to be crazy. I think another huge catalyst is going to be, you know, making it easy for people to spend money, whether it's OMI to NFT or whatever, because crypto people get it. That's why a lot of people say, well, I came from crypto, now I became a collector, right, of physical items or digital items. But they understand the language of blockchain, first appearance, you know, pumping and all, you know, rarities. They get that language. So if they unlock MCP, or bronze tickets, you know, drops, spending MCP points, just anything with MCP to give people some incentive to jump on, collect more. You know, people might start chasing those MCP points as well after they start burning. You know, they're burning off the huge stack of points they have. But you have to make it exciting for people, of course. You know, not only does that bring in new people, gets people excited who are already here to spend money. I mean, that will for sure raise the floors of things, which will make people happy. But I think you need to unlock the floodgates, make it easy for people to bring in, you know, their money from crypto, because if crypto's pumping like crazy, they're going to want to spend it somewhere, right? And if it's easy for them to spend it here, they're going to do that, like without a doubt. So I would say MCP, just kind of rolling out MCP, rewarding people and giving people more ways to engage on the app for sure. VeVeVerse is cool, but I don't think I'm in no rush for them to push that out. I just want people to have a way to enjoy the app.
Same. I would probably piggyback off that. I agree. Like MCP, it's just something to do with these points. Just something. And if that encourages a burn with comics or whatever it is, I don't know. I would also like to see some collectibles be kind of gated by MCP level. So it's, you know, let's say we dropped a comic with 10,000 mints, just to keep it simple. If they reserved 1,000 mints for people that are gold level and higher, and that's like a separate drop that happens, you know, let's say the very first drop that happens is for people that are gold and higher, which is not hard to do. I mean, that's like 3 collectibles and like 10 comics, if that, like probably even less than that to get like gold level. Basically, it's just to weed out the bots, or at the very least force bots to buy shit and hold it. And so they can actually play these exclusive drops. So it's still only 10% of the supply, but it's still reserved for just like the higher level people that with MCP, and then the other 90% is for everyone, normal drop, as if anything happened. I will say this: if you do win one in like the first drop for gold and higher or whatever, you can't play the second one, or at least like play it again or whatever, because you've already kind of secured it. It's almost kind of like the reserve list system or whatever for like Palm, right? Like if you have a back cal, you get early access. If you win there, you can't play it again. Something similar to that, but something that's like very low barrier to entry, but it's basically just to help like weed out the bots, or at least force the bots to buy stuff and hold on to it instead of just flooring everything the second they win it. So,
well, I think, yeah, you're touching on competition, right? People are competitive, right? Even with the leaderboards that we don't have it, just the top 500, right? Mm-hmm. People are already chasing those leaderboards. Even for me, I got to check every time they post, like, am I still on? Am I still on? Because it's getting, and that's just someone, you know, checking the blockchain data to make their own list. So I think you're right about using MCP points, making some things rare. You got to burn a lot of points to get something or get access to something. All that competition is very, very healthy, and people, they want to be proud of their stuff. So I do not doubt that, unlocking some of those features will help a lot.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it for the day. Sorry, my collectibles. I know you jumped on here for to watch the stream, and I know you caught the very tail end of it, but I'm going to go ahead and quickly link Doctor of Stuff stream because he is live right now. So we're going to go rate him right now if you guys aren't having him on your second monitor already. And anything you want to say, Pixel Trader, before we kind of bounce for the day? Or for the stream?
Yeah, thanks. I would just say, enjoy the journey, be patient, take your time. I don't think there's any reason to panic about anything. Just enjoy collecting and just enjoy, most people are here for financial gain, of course, but, I have faith long-term, and I've been through tougher times with other projects and other companies. And so this to me doesn't really ruffle my skin too much at all. So if that gives anyone any, confidence or peace, like all the fun, all the craziness it doesn't bother me one bit. I hear it, I take it into consideration, and I reassess my outlook long-term, or medium to long-term. I'm not talking like 50 years, like 2 to 5 years. So for me, I'm happy with what's happening. And it's like everyone says, sentiment could flip on a dime. So at any moment, into this year, sometime next year, we could be having completely different discussions. So yeah, just enjoy it and don't freak out, don't FOMO or anything.
Awesome. Words of wisdom right there. And that's why it's like anyone that tries to do like technical analysis on things like VeVe Collectibles or anything like that. I remember like people were trying to do that way back in the day, but like you said, the sentiment changes. Like a single tweet just changes everything. By the way, Omi's on these exchanges now as of today. Or VeVe, now we're going to do comic burning. This is exactly, and it's going to be a long article. People are going to spend like all day trying to read it and figure it out. And the comics are going to go ballistic. Like all it takes is one tweet from VeVe or one announcement or one mechanic or whatever it is to kind of flip a lot of stuff on its head and kind of ignite a spark in the community again. But
is the boat still going in the right direction? Yes or no? Right? Is it maybe hitting some rough seas or going too slow? Yes. And if that's not comfortable for you, get out. I don't blame you at all. But if you still think they're heading towards the destination, then I think you'll be okay.
Exactly. So I went ahead and linked Doctor of Stuff stream. So go ahead and jump in there, rate him, vibe tribe him up, and then we'll have some fun. So cool. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please double and triple check all of your listings so you don't screw yourself over. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.